And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Market Recap, Monday, August the 15th. I'm John, thanks for trusting me with your time. Well, 1 down, 4 to go. We started off with a pretty good week this week, especially for the equities. Starting the week strong after opening lower, closing to the upside. The upside grind continues to provide opportunities for longs. We're off of 4 straight up weeks. Are we going to have a 5th straight up week? Can it happen? Will our heroes pull through? Crude closed down about 3% today. We have the S&Ps closing up about 0.4%, same as the Dow. NASDAQ up about 0.8%. Those are, of course, not official, just here before the close. It looks like our Reddit crew is back at it, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, they're after Bed Bath & Beyond now. Bed Bath & Beyond shares soared 25% as our Reddit crew starts to go after now Bed Bath & Beyond. What do our markets do today? Well, crude, we had some pretty substantial overnight inventory to the short side. If you watched the market forecast this morning, you saw that. And so we had some pretty serious short time frame shorts coming into the market for the opening for the regular trading hour session today, up against some pretty important inflection levels, as in the weekly kickoff low. So we did see a little bit of a pullback off of that, but again, it did close 3% lower on the day. We got the S&Ps and the NASDAQ. The rally continues as our heroes resolve higher after a lower opening. Sure seems like the force is strong in these two. Gold, overnight inventory adjustment creates an area of balance for the day, but no gap close. I find that relatively interesting. The euro price continues lower towards the lower extreme of balance, or the weekly kickoff low. Unable to really take out and find buyers above that weekly kickoff high last week. Still range bound, still short time frame controlled. We got the 10-year, spent a little time in repair. We talked about that this morning, about how if we really kind of got up into Thursday's area of value, we may spend a little time up there. And that's exactly what we ended up doing today. And the natural gas has spent the 3rd day in a row testing weekly kickoff high, unable to find some momentum above that level. We've got that cup and handle pattern on the daily chart, not necessarily providing good upside opportunity, at least not yet. As always, if you like what you're seeing, hit the lucky like button. If you don't like what you're seeing, tell me, jhoagland at topstep.com. Questions, feedback, heckling, love, it's all welcome here. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notified when we do go live. And I look forward to taking a look at these charts here in a minute. And we had a really good, I think, a really good session of group coaching today. That was at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, right after the forecast, we're going right into Make Hogue Money. Bring your knowledgeable trader with you. In other words, you. And let's see if we can't find some profits. We've had a couple of tough days. Not a big deal. That's just part of trading. We are looking forward to seeing what we can come up with tomorrow. I can give you the link so you can get the link to come to Make Hogue Money tomorrow. Right here. Let me put that in. And we'll see what we can find. What else? Well, I got to say good afternoon to everyone. Tachyon, Brody, Tachyon up $78 for the practice account. Got there eventually. It feels like the market likes to reinforce my very risky trading strategy. Yeah. Need to optimize, take less risk. Always a good idea. But you can heckle. Of course, Ocean. Good to see you. You don't want to cut it too short. You just die by 1,000 cuts. Risk is a tough thing. Pete, good afternoon. Scott Saw, and he conquered. Bill Phillips, Haggle Matters, good to see you. My brother, good to see you, Rick. As always, I love you. Joe, can't wait for Make Hogue Money tomorrow. Me too. I always enjoy those. You have a little fun, make a little money. We'll see how it goes. Group coaching was fantastic as usual. Oh, well, thank you very much, Haggle Matters. I'm very happy to hear that. Too humble. Greg, from the coaching session. Good to see you. Welcome to the recap. If you haven't even been to the forecast or the recap, hoping you find it helpful. And again, if there's something you love about it, tell everybody. If there's something you don't like about the forecast recap, anything that we do here, make sure you let us know. Again, Jay Hoagland at Top Step. Let me know. Ocean Blue, yeah, you can heckle. I can handle a good heckling. Group coaching was amazing. Thank you, DA. Thank you, DA. As always, it's always a pleasure to talk trading with traders. It's one of my favorite things to do. That's why I love what I do here. All right, let's jump into the charts now. We're going to start with the daily in crude. We had a pretty decent opportunity with some overnight inventory that was way too short to the downside, even with the information coming out. Let's take a look. Vlad, yeah, here's the group coaching link. Here it is. We'll be doing it again on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central. Here's the link for group coaching. Get registered, and we'll see you there. You can always, if you have a specific question in mind already before the session, you can email it to me at jhoagland@topstep.com. And let me get prepared for it. And looking forward to the challenge of answering your questions. So here is the daily in crude. So we're starting the week off to the downside, but largely, I would say, somewhat in balance. We've got 1, 2, 3 lows, 4 lows here. We took a look down below that today. Could not accept below that level. Structure still to the downside. We're still putting in lower highs and lower lows. I think this is all good news, hopefully, for everybody at the pump. When that's going to happen, we don't know. Take a look at the 30, though. Settlement was all the way up here at 92.09. All of these overnight shorts opening in an area of importance. Okay, these weekly kickoff levels are areas where I look for longer time frame traders to adjust inventory. On the forecast this morning, we discussed the fact that crude oil is in rollover and that our bigger, stronger, longer time frame traders are probably not that interested in becoming directional. Now, you could call last night directional, but it's directional in a longer time frame area of balance. If it were not rollover, the fact that we opened below that weekly kickoff low may have provided a different outcome. I don't think that we brought in longer time frame traders because they're still focusing on getting a cheap rollover over being directional with the market. So they're hedged. They're working on moving those hedges to future months. And therefore, I don't think we saw what we may have seen if this was the middle of the contract cycle, if you will. A lot of overnight shorts, unable to continue the push to the downside, unable to take out the overnight low. We saw a nice pullback. Not even able to close the gap, though. I mean, that tells me that there's an inherent weakness in this market. So I'm not looking to buy breaks. I'm looking for areas to look for opportunities to sell rallies until something changes. Is something going to change? It seems to be in crude oil and in most of these markets. The availability for something to fundamentally change is always there. So we've got to be ready, trading what we're seeing, protecting ourselves as far as risk is concerned, and looking for those good opportunities. So our opportunity today came when we could not accept below weekly kickoff low. Moving in the opposite direction, you may have gotten 100, 120 ticks out of that move. Took all day, though. I hate those all-day suckers. So our equities continue to try and push to the upside. We had a little over 35,000 contracts added on Friday. We've been, adding money to the long side all the way up from this Tuesday, which we were saying on that Wednesday that there was a paradigm shift in the S&Ps, and I was going to start looking for opportunities to buy weakness instead of opportunities to sell strength. Well, here we are, 4 straight weeks to the upside, working on our 5th straight week to the upside, which is off to a relatively good start today. Volume I'm not worried about. We start losing open interest on higher days, then we might start looking for an opportunity for a potential change in direction, at least for the time being. Watch the opening interest tomorrow morning. Here's what we did. Very kind of opening range, the low of the session. We're looking at the fact that we had what would appear to be a late spike because the market continued to push higher, unable to find any semblance of balance. We found that balance in the late spike earlier in the session. We broke out to the upside, and we've really just been trying to push to the upside and with a little bit of a pullback here into the close. We don't have a late spike tomorrow, but I'll be watching open interest tomorrow again to see if we brought in more new longs to the market. 43.15 is weekly kickoff high. It goes pretty far back. It is a measured move, and there's also a naked point of control from the past in that area. Be watching to see what happens when price gets there. Remember, these weekly kickoff levels are not meant to envelop any days or weekly range. They're meant to alert us to the fact that we're in an area that longer, stronger traders may continue to, want to, or start to adjust inventory, and we need to know that as day traders. And we never really know, but we can look for signs that they are present. Here's the NASDAQ, another up day here, another perhaps beginning of a 5th week to the upside. Volume wasn't all that tremendous, but that doesn't bother me as when the equities start losing open interest to the upside. It's just kind of what they do. You get the volume on the downside moves, and the equities watch the open interest again tomorrow morning to see if we increased open interest. So here's what we did. The opening range remained the low of the session, although different than the S&Ps. We all know that they are similar but different. The S&P's opening range was never revisited. The NASDAQ revisited the opening range 2 or 3 times once the opening range was established. We put up this high, came all the way back to the opening range. All the way back to the opening range before continuing this move to the upside. Those of you that took that opening range trade actually took heat, where in the S&Ps there was absolutely no heat off the opening range. I told myself I was going to be patient, as Mondays are typically not my best trading mornings. Unfortunately, I did not get the opportunity to stay patient. It is, after all, National Relaxation Day, but I wasn't able to relax all that much. Gold. It's our lowest close in a week, perhaps. Yep, in a week. Break in structure, continuation, higher volume. What happens with open interest? If we lose open interest today, I'm going to look at this pullback as being a little bit hollow. If we added open interest on this downside day, I'm going to be looking at open interest at this market as more likely to have a deeper pullback, which is fine. Looking for an opportunity to perhaps buy this market or at least see the market at 1775. That's 1 year before 1776. And that's the spirit. Here's the 30. All of the move to the downside happened in the overnight. What happened during the day? We found a range and we stayed in it. Our initial balance ends up being the entire range for the day. It's a normal trading day. We don't see those that often, but that A period remains the extremes of the entire session. Here we go. What next? Let's take a look at the euro. Continuing to push off that high, weekly kickoff high that we were unable to close above last week, looking for perhaps a full rotation to weekly kickoff low. Weekly kickoff low. Here's the 30. Again, lots of overnight inventory, some adjustment, but unable to close the gap. We did hit 2 naked points of control here in trying to in seeing visuals with which to bring price to. And there they go. So 1, 2 points of control that were visited in regular trading hours. One left above that we did not get to in trading hours. Remember, traders, what doesn't happen is sometimes as equal and is important as what does happen. Got a couple of gap closes that didn't happen today, like gold and this one. Even unable to go up and recheck this visual up here, because traders' eyes are looking at it, and whatever trader's eyes are looking at, they're going to make price go that direction. Didn't quite get there today. And the 10-year closing back above this trend line. This weak trend line really just showing that we're putting in higher lows, higher highs. Yeah, I got Lacey moosing me over here. We talked about this morning the fact that we had some overnight inventory to the long side, but we also had some potential for repair. Now, we really just kind of repaired this area here. I think there's still more repair from Thursday's profile that we can kind of get taken care of over the next couple of days. Not looking for anything big from the 10-year. And the NASDAQ. Natural gas, I should say. NASDAQ. What's wrong with me? It must be Monday. So natural gas, 3 straight days up against weekly kickoff high. It remains from last week as we were unable to close above it. There was no real change in direction in and around it, so it stays. Tested to it today. Found resistance. Here's the 30. Open. Repair. Drives higher, can't hold above weekly kickoff high, and then comes off and finds balance largely in Friday's range and area of balance. So we've had an interesting start to the week. It's just the beginning. We had 4 more days, and I always look forward to like Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and even Fridays. I even look forward to the weekends, but I always look forward to coming back and sitting right here and checking out what's going on in the market, seeing if I can figure it out and seeing if I can make money on it. Haggle Matters, do you use the OI in that Tradovate gives, or where do you get it? And what time of day do you check it? Let me show you. I'm going to grab the bulletin, and we're going to take a look through this here just briefly. You're not going to see me. You're going to see this bulletin. Now, this bulletin is provided by the CME. Here's the link for it. Okay, this is the link to find this daily bulletin. So if I'm trading, let's say, crude oil, and I go to energy, and I'm going to hit energy futures products, and I'm going to click. First thing in the morning when I get in, this doesn't say final. It says preliminary. And everything on this is going to be relatively close. Well, everything on it's going to be right, except for open interest. Now it says final. It's about 9:30. If you open this and you see, it's preliminary, you can look at those numbers and you can kind of depend on them, but they're not going to be absolutely right. Once in a while, they're way off. But this is what we have to deal with before about 9:30. 9:30, I can just go back to this and I can refresh the page, and then it's going to show me the final. Here's September, settlement, volume, open interest. But when I look at crude oil, look at all the open interest that's way out into the future. So if I'm going to be looking at the front month only, especially because crude oil rolls over every month, I'm going to be missing part of the picture. When I collect volume and open interest information, I collect the totals. Total CL, 661,025 volume for all of the contracts of crude oil. 1,573,961 total open interest at the end of the day on Friday, which is an additional 1,828. The preliminary this morning said there was an additional 2,500, or somewhere between 24 and 2,500. I just round up when I look at these. Still showing that there was an increase in open interest. What about the equities? Page 11, it always has been. Here's the S&Ps. This is the final. I can't even go back and check the preliminary. Here's settlement, total volume, total open interest. We added 34,276. This morning I rounded it up to 36,000. So it's usually a little bit off, but usually not by much. And this is where I get the information. The CME Bulletin. Okay, Haggle Matters. Ocean Blue. As traders, if we're making money, what true value other than a little bit liquidity do we provide a market that it just goes up and down, and broker fees? Well, Ocean Blue, I think that the role of the speculator is extremely important to the market process. You know, if it were only producers and users using these futures exchanges and products, the spread between the bid and offer would be unsurmountable. You know, if you have a farmer who's trying to get $12 a bushel for his corn, and you have users that are trying to buy corn at $6 a bushel, you're not going to see much trading going on. The role of the speculator is to take that, add opinion, add motivation, add the ability for the speculator to earn money on taking trades and making trades and providing that liquidity. It's what makes these markets so good. You know, back in the day in the trading pit, the locals were mostly scalpers. They were just looking to take a few ticks out of the market, any trade they made, and they were making, sometimes several hundred or thousands of trades per day. They were kind of what the HFTs and the algos do now. So that role for the local or for the scalper is, largely taken up now by computers. But it doesn't mean there's still not opportunity for infinite number of time frame traders to be able to provide liquidity. Of course, that's really what we're here to do. And for that liquidity we provide, we have the opportunity to profit. So, while a one-lot trader is probably not providing a lot of liquidity for the marketplace, you get a few thousand one-lot traders, then you're talking about some liquidity. And that's what, keeps the bid and offers close. It's what makes the market rotate between where the producers want to sell it and the users want to buy it. And I think, it is extremely important. The role that we play in the marketplace is extremely important to Ocean Blue. Owl. Stacked imbalances you're talking about, like in Trade-O-Vate, when there's like a lot more bids stacked up. You can see that number at the bottom than there are offers stacked up. No, I don't usually use those as opportunities, but what one of my bosses told me a long time ago, the market always goes to the point of greatest aggravation. The market's going to go to the liquidity. So there is certainly some validity to looking at those for opportunities. Good afternoon, Trading Research. So, in 1899, on this day, Henry Ford leaves Edison to start his automobile company. What a good idea. You guys remember Apocalypse Now? That started in theaters on this date in 1979. Today is the first day of Woodstock, August 15th. Opened in White Lake, New York, town of Bethel. I always felt as though I should have been there. Speaking of music, it's Joe Jonas's birthday today. Happy birthday, Joe Jonas. The drummer from Whitesnake's birthday is today, Tommy Aldrich. There's always something about Led Zeppelin in here. In 1969, during the North American tour, Led Zeppelin appeared at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio, Texas. Jethro Tull and Sweet Smoke were also on the bill, but during the show, Led Zeppelin received abuse from locals due to their length of their hair. Funny. Elvis Presley's It's Now or Never on this date was number one on the U.S. singles chart. Also number one in the U.K. It's based on the Italian song O Solo Mio. You can't help but recognize that melody in there. Ah, good, Ocean Blue. My pleasure. Yeah, I know traders that do look owl at those stacked imbalances, and they notice quite a bit when there's a stacked imbalance. Market goes to the bigger stack, always to the liquidity, and that's what we provide. All right, tomorrow, what are we looking at? Housing starts and permits, industrial production. I don't see any talking feds on the docket. So we got 8:30 number and an 7:30 number and an 8:15 number. 7:30 is housing starts and permits, industrial production at 8:15. Those are, of course, in Central Time. Make sure you're adjusted for those. But looking like another interesting trading day tomorrow. Will our heroes, the Nasdaq and the S&P, continue their march to glory? What will happen? Will crude fall? Will gold pop? Tune in tomorrow for As the Markets Turn. Get a good night's sleep. I'll see you in the morning, 7:45, market forecast. Same bat time, same bat channel. Trade well, everyone. If you're trading tonight, make sure you reserve some opportunities for tomorrow. And I'll see you tomorrow. See you in the morning. Take care.